Welcome to Ivanoff Retirement Insights with Paul and Travis Ivanoff. The father and son team at Ivanoff Advisors has been helping clients grow and protect their wealth with a combined 50 years experience. Paul and Travis understand the importance of having tax-free, reliable income in retirement, protecting your assets, and helping you achieve your retirement dreams. Now, Ivanoff Retirement Insights.
Welcome in, and thanks for joining us today for another round of Ivanoff Retirement Insights. The questions and variables in retirement are endless, and lending us their experience in helping clients retire is Travis Ivanoff and Paul Ivanoff. Travis, how you doing today?
I'm great, Allie. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Paul, how are you doing?
Awesome, Ellie. Awesome. You too, I hope.
Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being here, both of you. And we talk on the show all the time about how retirement is so incredibly different for each individual person. And it couldn't be more true than for nurses. So I want to focus on nurses and their retirement plans. What are some of the unique financial challenges that nurses face when planning for retirement compared to other professionals?
Well, Ellie, the nurses, first of all, my wife is a nurse. I'll explain in a few minutes how we met. But nurses have a very unique job. They can work not only at hospitals or medical centers, they can transition into nursing homes, they can do home health. There's so many things that they can do. So one of the big challenges that I've noticed over the last 34 years is that when they leave their jobs, they leave the retirements at the past jobs, and they just keep moving on to various other areas of nursing that they want to do. And so the money's just sitting there. So that's one of the challenges. So they really don't know what they have for retirement, what's going on. They don't understand what they're receiving in the mail.
Well, and Paul, you mentioned you wanted to bring in Sadie because she's a nurse, and how you guys met. What's that story?
Well, unique story. Way back around 34 years ago, I was doing quite a bit of work with just registered nurses and LVNs. And I had an agency in Los Angeles where I had around 8 or 9 insurance agents with me, and I would fly them throughout the state, everywhere from Sacramento, San Jose, and so on. And I'd have rental cars for them, motel rooms. And prior to that, we would do these large mailings to nurses around the state. There were, I think, at least, 60, 70,000 back then. And they would send in the reply cards. And then our team, we would fly out, make appointments to see them. We'd spend 3-4 days in various cities, and then we'd head back to Southern California. So we spoke with nurses for decades. In fact, I had a slogan that was on most of our flyers that we mailed out for nurses. Basically, it was, you take care of everybody else, but who takes care of you? And which is so true, that no one's looking out after them. So the way I met Sadie was that she actually mailed one of our flyers in at some point. She was working labor and delivery nurse at a hospital in Southern California. And she received our invitation, and she put it in her locker for around 6 months. And eventually she cleaned out her locker, saw the flyer, and said, I think I'll mail this in. So she mailed it in to me, and I made an appointment. Back then I was seeing a lot of nurses at their homes or occupations. So I saw her at her home. And when I showed up there, I just fell in love instantly.
Aww.
She was beautiful, and she had a friend there at the time who was watching me do my presentation. The friend was in the living room, I was in the kitchen, and the friend said, the way you two looked at each other, I'm going to guarantee that if you guys ever go on a date, you're getting married. And of course, I fell in love instantly. I did ask her out a week later, and I asked her to go to Knott's Scary Farm. Over here in Southern Cal, we have the Halloween thing every year at Knott's Berry Farm. So we went to Knott's Scary Farm and had a good time. But then on the way home, she didn't say a whole lot to me. And I'm thinking, oh man, this might be a pretty bad date here. So what happened is I walked her to her door, and then I left. She looked a little tired. And then the next day I called her, and she was kind of offended. She felt that the date didn't go well because I didn't give her a kiss at the door. And I came to find out, I just said, I thought you were just so tired out. Well, she didn't tell me, but she wanted to go on the date, but she didn't tell me that she was working a 12-hour shift so many days in a row. And she still went on the date with me, so that was pretty awesome. So she took one there for the team, I guess. She just showed up, and instead of putting it off. And so bottom line is 3 months later, we ended up getting married. And we've had like 6 kids. It's been 34 years now. It's been awesome. And came to find out after I met her that her mother was a nurse as well. And her mother and father kind of met the same kind of way. They met instantly. 3 months later, they got married, and they're married for the rest of their lives. So that's my story on how I met Sadie.
Well, what a beautiful story there.
I've never heard it before.
Yeah, right. never enough, right?
Well, let me ask you, Paul, because like you mentioned, Sadie was a labor and delivery nurse. I understand she's a big part of Ivanoff at this point. How did her role become so big over there?
Well, it started out big because when Travis was young, Sadie was working with me, helping run the office. Even though she was a nurse, she worked when she wanted to. Basically, we had a lot of kids, so that was actually harder. I think it was harder than being an RN, taking care of all these kids, juggling them around, driving them to Little League games, this and that. We'd always have to split up to go to various games because we had so many kids. So what got her in, I had her do a lot of work at the office. She's very intelligent, curious, and she got involved with everything from handling the computers for us. If one broke down, she would fix it. Anything we wanted, she was the go-to person, and she helped my mailings, everything to generate clients to see. She was a big instrumental part of the business, and then she did more of the nursing and then laid off, went back into it. And then back around 8 years ago, I said, Sadie, we have every aspect for retirement except for one thing we're really, really missing. We need Medicare. I said, will you please take one for the team, do the Medicare? It's kind of like, it's not exciting work, but she says, sure, I'll do it. And she says, I'm not a salesman. Well, came to find out, she's a nurse. She knows how to talk to people about doctors, prescriptions, aches and pains, all that stuff. And in the end, she did fantastic. And she's the go-to person in the area here where a lot of doctors' offices send their patients to her because she's very knowledgeable about what she does. So she picked up on the Medicare. We ran the Medicare like we run our entire business. We're 100% independent. With Travis and I, we get the best products we can for our clients. And with Sadie, I said, hey, you don't want to just represent one company for Medicare. We want everything. So she ended up getting licenses with pretty well every company, and she takes around 60 tests a year, 60. You have to retest yearly in order to represent that company again. And so she does all that. She does very good at it. Very few people are knowledgeable enough to actually want to handle every company. It's an awful lot of work. A lot of advisors in the business, if they only have a handful, if they do Medicare, they have a handful of companies. And of course, if a client says to them, what about this or that? And if they don't have it, they're just going to say it's not that great, when really they just don't know. Or if they failed that test, every year you retest. If you fail that test with that company, you have to wait another year in order to take the test again to see if you can get appointed with them. So if they fail a test, they're not going to tell you. And so anyway, so that's where Sadie's very unique. It's worked out fantastic and very instrumental part of our business. Pretty well all of our clients that see us at seminars, eventually they want to see Sadie if they're of retirement age or those close to retire.
Well, and I know Medicare, it can be a really confusing piece of retirement. So thankfully, we do have Sadie coming up on an episode of Ivanoff Retirement Insights. Hit subscribe on this podcast if you don't want to miss that one. But going back to the nursing field, Travis, I want to ask you about some nuts and bolts here. What are some of the common investment mistakes that nurses could make, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, I would say that, I think we alluded to it earlier, but oftentimes I'll see nurses that haven't opened a statement in years. They'll just have stacks of mail, and they're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how much I'm getting matched. I don't know. The big question that every retiree has, but especially nurses, do I have enough to retire? And, they do very well, especially in Southern California, but oftentimes we're just trying to build a roadmap for them, just like we do for any client. But I think what they really need is just someone to have the same passion about their retirement planning as they do about their occupation. And there's probably a lot of similarities there. We both take care of people. We both have a passion. We enjoy helping people, whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. And nurses do that as well. So when we meet with them, they're so overwhelmed by working 12-hour shifts, sometimes night shifts, et cetera, that they really just don't have the time to take care of themselves. And as they're doing well, it becomes such a passion for them that they never sit down and say, okay, how about myself? Can I retire? What does it look like? So they're just in some portfolios that might not be the best fit as they're getting closer to retirement. They just haven't put that kind of time or effort into that as they do into their career. So oftentimes it's just a lack of knowledge or time. Just nursing can be exhausting. We have my cousin, my mom, my other cousin, my grandma. We have a lot of nurses in the family, and I see how hard they work and how passionate they are. So really just taking the time to explain, what they're invested in. Do they need to make a change? Are they getting closer to distribution versus accumulation? And I can tell you, I have several nursing clients, and when they come into our office and, they see how passionate we are with our retirement planning and what we do for a living, and they can relate to us, they know that we care. And, obviously nurses care about their patients and we care about our clients. So just sitting there and getting to know them. And then I've had several clients retire the last 2 years that just they weren't sure if it was going to be an option. And now that we've put pen to paper and built out the retirement roadmap, they know they can retire whenever they want, and maybe they want to go part-time or per diem and no longer do the 12-hour grueling shifts that they have to do. And that's what we're here for, just, take care of them like they're taking care of their patients and letting them know, hey, if you feel like retiring, if you want to slow down, we can do that. And again, I've had clients that have retired this year that are just happy they met us, and now they're a part of our family. On a side note, one of our employees ended up having twins, and it was over here at Long Beach Memorial. And because we have such a huge pool of clients, they were actually there taking care of my employee and her kids in the NICU, and that felt really good to, be that well connected with nurses that even our employees giving birth are taken care of, and we do the same thing for them, right? We always take care of them, and it's a pretty happy family when we're working with nurses, and they're very intelligent, smart. They just need someone to take care of them like they take care of everyone else.
Well, the both of you are just full of incredible stories today. Now, since it can be so overwhelming, there's so much energy and heart that goes into being a nurse. It can be hard for them to kind of see how a retirement plan can come together. Could either one of you, I'll throw it out to both of you, share a success story of a nurse who achieved their retirement goals and how they accomplished it?
It was kind of a funny story. The client came in with just, again, stacks of mail. Like, hey, I don't know what I have. I don't know when I can retire. I'm 63 right now. I'd like to be done by 65. I've been working as a nurse for 30-something years, and we just slowly together opened several pieces of mail that had statements from old jobs, current jobs, 403Bs, 457. They just didn't understand how it all worked. So we sat here and went line by line with them and just started inputting all their information. And then my favorite question is, what's your dream number? What does it look like for you to be retired? And they're like, well, my home's paid off. I've done pretty well on that. I don't have a lot of debt. I just don't know what these accounts, I don't know when I got to pay taxes. I don't really know how it works. So, after about 3 appointments and gathering all the information, and she was just as surprised as I was as we were opening the statements because she doesn't look at them. But once it was all said and done, that nurse ended up retiring, on time at 65, making more than what she is currently because of tax favorable, accounts that she had and just being a little more efficient. So, now she's traveling and she's doing, every time I see her, I get excited to hear about her latest story, whether she's headed to Portland with one of her friends or taking a Viking cruise or, just traveling to wherever, I think she was in Canada last time. It's just it's great to hear the stories every time she gets back and know that we had a part in that. And it all started with a stack of envelopes that she's never opened. And then we put, all the pieces together for her. And now she's happily retired, traveling. And if she wants to go back to nursing, she can. She keeps her licenses up. But right now she's definitely in her go-go years. She's 65 and just loving life.
Yeah, so Ali, it's very gratifying when we see our retirement nurses that come in afterwards, and it's just awesome. They seem to have what we call here the retirement glow. When we first meet them, they're stressed out. What do I do? What do I have? And in the end, months after retirement, it's a totally different feeling, a different look. They seem less stressed when they're coming in, and we just have fun. In the end, after working with nurses, I think we really help them out quite a bit. We let them know that planning is always better than guessing. You don't have to wonder how it's going to shake out when you retire, if you can retire, if you have to put up with management at the hospitals that you really don't like. So in the end, planning is better than guessing, and in the end, they feel confident and comfortable about how retirement's going to be.
Well, I appreciate you both for sharing your insights on this. I'm sure there are nurses listening, and this is just a little light at the end of the tunnel of their grueling schedule that they could see themselves on a Viking cruise one day. Before we close, what's one piece of advice you wish every nurse would take to heart when planning for retirement?
I would say just find the time to take care of yourself, because oftentimes they're so busy and so tired by the end of the day, they're not really looking out for their retirement. So open those statements, give us a call, and we can help, make sense of it all and walk you through retirement. But you need to take time for yourself. You need to make this a priority. Ideally, you want to start at least 5 years prior to retirement. So that's where we come in. That's where we can help you, just like you're helping your patients.
Now, Travis pretty well said it all. It's best not to wait. If you're ready to retire as a nurse, don't wait until 65 or that age area. Start sooner. The sooner you start, the better it is.
Well, there are a lot of things that go into your retirement plan. Today was just about getting you on the right foot to get things started. If you're a nurse, if you're listening today and know a nurse who might need a little guidance, go ahead and share this podcast with them. And also be sure to learn more about the team, how to work with Travis and Paul and Sadie at IvanofFinsights.com. Thanks for listening.
Investment advisory services offered through Ivanoff Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by security regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Travis Ivanoff, California CRD number 325275. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Ivanoff Wealth Management is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Ivanoff Wealth Management is licensed in your state, please call 714-553-1490. Ivanoff Advisors is not affiliated with Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Advisory services are offered by Travis Ivanoff through Ivanoff Wealth Management. Insurance services are offered by Paul Ivanoff through Ivanoff Advisors. The aforementioned are unaffiliated companies.